Hello, today I will show you how to use Choico, Choices with Consequences, which is a tool for playing and designing games. You can access it freely on the web. You just type in Choico, hang on, this is Greek, Choico, and it appears first on your Google list, and you just join in. Now, the way we're going to do this is I'm going to show you the flow of the game by using prototype of a very simple game that I've developed precisely for that. And the prototype is just in the form of a zip file on my desktop. This is how you can save Choico games. Okay. Now, the idea behind Choico is that we have situation simulations of what we call socio-scientific issues. So a part of it is embedded scientific ideas like mathematics or chemistry or biology or environment, sustainability. This one is about diet, and a part of it is about social values. So what happens here if I play this game as a player is that I have some choices of food I can pick and eat. And I have a couple of values: diabetes liability, how likely it is for me to get diabetes if I eat this piece of food, or sheer pleasure. So if I go into a dark bar of chocolate, which is my favorite, then I can see that if I eat the chocolate, I will gain in liability to get diabetes, but I will also have pleasure. So there's the consequences, there's a plus and a minus consequence. And I have to make a choice whether I'm going to do it. My liability is 1 at the moment, and my pleasure is 10. So I will gain a lot in pleasure, but I would also gain in liability. And this is not very good, because at some point it's going to throw me out if I pass a red line, as we call it, which is 50. So if I don't get the message and I go and eat a seedy cheese pie, here in Greece we like that sort of thing, again I get another 6 liability. If I have a bag of tasty crisps, another 4 liability. I'm very pleasurable, but my diabetes is going up. And if I keep eating this kind of food, chocolate especially, then it will throw me out because I just got over 50 and I'm out of the game. So the point of the game as a player is to stay on the game as long as possible. If I give it to 30 people, the one who stays on for the most changes before the game throws them out is the best player. At the same time, if I play again and I get a portion of broccoli, I see that my diabetes liability is lower, of course, and that's great, but it's not very pleasurable according to the person who built this game, which is me. Some people may like broccoli, so nothing against broccoli personally. But if I keep selecting a point, I select this, pleasure gets to 0. I select it again, I have a second portion of broccoli, I'm out because I get depressed. All right, so this is playing the game. I can very easily design the game or change the game. If I just click on this button here, which looks like binoculars, I get into the editor, and I'll show you the kind of things that I can change. First of all, you may have different ideas about the consequences. You may, for instance, you may not find broccoli so unpleasurable. You may say, just put -5 here. On the other hand, you may find a cheesy pie, a greasy cheesy pie, incredibly favorable, and put 12 here. And then I just click and I can play a game again with these different values. I can click on cheesy pie and I see that the pleasure is 12, and so on. And if I go back again into the editor, it's that simple. I can think of different things about the game. For instance, there's only one kind of food that reduces the liability of diabetes, and I think maybe it's a fair game if I have another kind of food that does the same thing. So all I do is I just click on this point, and I just leave one new point, one new piece of food, and immediately I get a new record here on my database, which I can now characterize. Say we have what kind of food? Let's say spinach pie. Spinach pie. Oops, got it wrong here. It doesn't matter because I can always edit anything. Spinach pie. And let's say that, okay, well, this is a positive for diabetes liability, which means minus 10, for instance. It's not terribly pleasurable, but not so unpleasurable as broccoli. So I could say minus 3 with respect to pleasure. So I've added another record. I can just go back into my game, and now I have the spinach pie that I can pick, and then I can select it. And I can change more things as well. For instance, if only these two values are not enough to make the game interesting, I can add another value. I can just go here on the plus sign. Here's the value. I can give it a name. For instance, for diet, what kind of things do we care about? Weight loss, for example. Yeah, so how much weight would I lose for a bar of chocolate? Well, I wouldn't actually lose weight. So here I can say minus 10. So I would gain 10 kilos. For broccoli, I would lose a lot of weight. I can say 12. Bag of salted crisps? No, I don't think so. I will put minus 15. A beef steak? Well, that would be neutral because it's just sheer nutrition. A seeded cheese pie? Sorry, that would be minus 12, let's say. And spinach pie is good. I could lose 6 kilos if I kept eating spinach. So there it is. I have my new field and my new values. It's that simple. I can go back in, and I see that this hasn't been added here. So what's going on? I need to check and make my new field part of the game. And to do that, I can go into this little Blockly programming language, which has 3 tabs: the initial settings, the rules, we don't have any rules at the moment, and the end rules, which are the red lines. So where do I start from? You see set field diabetes liability to 1 and sheer pleasure 10. So all I have to do is put another condition here, and I can say set the weight loss to, well, let's start from 0. Let's start from 0. So this is kind of what we call event handling, or in the event where you start a game, these things are set. And the end rules, these ones are the ones that have conditions. For instance, if the diabetes liability is larger than 50, put up a pop-up window which says bye-bye, it was nice knowing you, and the game is over. So with respect to weight loss, well, I can make my own decisions, of course. So I need a conditional to add to these two. And then I need to put in my variable. If the weight loss, now when do I want to get out of the game? When I haven't exactly gained a lot of weight. So when the weight loss becomes more, or rather less, because in mathematics we need to think about negative values, more than minus 12. So if the weight loss becomes smaller than minus 12, then I've had it, which means what actions will I take? Well, I can pop up a window that says too obese to play this game, for instance. And with respect to game flow, I can put in my game over command. So if this happens, then the game is over. And we'll see what we've done. It doesn't matter because we can go back and change it immediately if we want. So if I start eating dark chocolate, I see that I don't lose weight, I gain weight. So my weight loss is -10. And if my weight loss goes to -20, I'm too obese to play this game. So I can't eat a bar of chocolate twice. I need to change my diet and alternate between different kinds of foods. And the last thing that I can change is the gameplay rules, where I can put some more conditionals while the game is on. So let's have another if. And here I can play. I could even put a double condition and say as the game is going on, if you go below some, well, not red lines but some gray lines, then something happens that gives you some kind of warning or some kind of feedback on how you're doing. So say if your liability for diabetes is less than, for instance, let's say 20, then you're doing good. If it goes over 20, you're not doing good. And if your weight loss is well, less than, let's say, -5, you should be careful because less than -12 means you're out. So no, I want something positive here. If it's more than -5, then you're doing okay. If it's less than -5, then you have a problem. So what would I do if this happens? Well, I could say play sound, and I could have a kind of a clap here, which means that I'm doing okay. Here's the clap. So when I click and I start the game again, if I start with portion of broccoli, then I'm doing good because my diabetes liability, you see, is -4 and my weight loss is 12, which means that I can have a bar of chocolate now. I'm still doing good. But then if I have another bar of chocolate, then I don't get a clap because the weight loss is starting to get into danger ground and the liability is starting to get 20. So what we've done is we've taken a very simple game and we made it a little more interesting. But playing this game and designing this game brought a lot of discussion about what good nutrition is, and the information that's in there now is not, of course, not valid. It's just subjective, and it's me. Which goes to show. But if you get kids or learners really discussing about nutritional values, or if you create an expert game, you can get players to make choices and then get a kind of understanding of nutritional habits, which are good habits for your health and for your pleasure at the same time. So you can find more things about the Choico game in the manual here in Help, or in your Moodle, in your resources. You can find a design template which will help you think up and design your own games, and a description of some games that we've already built. So have a good play session and a good design session at the same time. Thank you.